In the headlines, Council of State directs CBN to print more currency or allow old notes coexist with new ones. Senator Emmanuel Bocha wins Taraba All Progressives Congress governorship primary rerun. Gunmen attack Governor Okowa's security aides in Anambra, kills 3. And on the foreign scene, death toll from Turkey, Syria earthquake passes 24,000 as calls for aid intensifies. Hello and welcome to Trust News Updates. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Now the news in detail. The National Council of State has declared its support for the Naira redesign policy of the federal government. The highest advisory body in the country is also convinced that all preparations are in place for a successful conduct of general elections later in the month. Minister of Justice and Attorney General Abubakar Malami revealed this on Friday while briefing newsmen at State House Abuja at the end of the council's meeting on Friday. Kende Amodu reports.
The queues at banks and at automated teller machines are yet to subside, despite the judgment of the Supreme Court suspending the deadline for the withdrawal of old notes from the system. Yet after a lengthy meeting, the National Council of State seems to be in support of the Naira redesign policy. All it just suggests is for the Central Bank of Nigeria to do more to make the new Naira notes available across the country.
The policy stands, but then the council agreed that there is need for aggressive action on the part of the central bank as it relates to the implementation of the policy by way of ensuring adequate provision being made with particular regard to the supply of the Naira in the system.
Many views were proffered, particularly that the CBN governor should look into making sure that money is available, the new money is available in quantum. And there were suggestions too that if the new money is not in a circulation or printing them could be difficult, the old money that hasn't been changed could be recirculated and pumped into circulation to ease the tension.
Sources say some of the attendees at the meeting were aggrieved with how the council discussed the Naira controversy. Senate President Ahmad Lawan and the National Assembly are adopting the stance that the new Naira notes should run alongside the old notes until they are gradually faded out.
Countries have been doing the same thing. And to say that in 3 months it will be okay, it's not okay. And especially in a country like ours, where maybe 80, 85, or even 90% of the population have no access to banks. When Britain changed their currency, I don't know whether 20 pounds or 50 pounds, it took them over a year to change. And validity remains that even the old one you receive has been a legal tender. So why ours? We are not cashless yet. That society is cashless already, and they needed even more time.
In all of this, there is still uncertainty about the deadline for the withdrawal of the old notes, which ended on Friday. To cap it all, there is no indication that the council had called for an extension of the deadline for the use of old Naira notes. From State House Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
Governor Bello Matawalle of Zamfara State has ordered the arrest of anyone who refuses to accept the old currency notes of 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira in the state. He said the old currency notes remain legal tender until the final verdict of the case instituted against the Central Bank of Nigeria and the federal government by 3 northern governors of Kaduna, Kogi and Zamfara states at the Supreme Court. Matawalle, who stated this at an event in Gusau, explained that he and his counterparts of Kogi and Kaduna states approached the Supreme Court to order the extension and validity of the old 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira notes. Matawale also commended the Supreme Court for doing the needful, which he said will alleviate the suffering of the masses. Nigerians have had a hard time getting the new notes amid scarcity and rising tension across the country, forcing the Apex Bank to extend the deadline by 10 days. Workers in Abuja want the Nigerian government to reverse the Naira redesign policy as currency scarcity has pushed many of them out of business. Trust TV's Kabir Lawal speaks to some menial workers who do not have accounts or bank accounts on how they are coping since the introduction of new currency. The report.
The initial deadline for old Naira notes to cease from circulation as legal tender expires Friday, except that the ruling of Supreme Court has rendered it inconsequential, bringing temporary relief to many Nigerians. However, workers want a quick fix to Naira crisis in the country. They say the nature of their job requires cash payment for the job done, and hence they are worse hit by the Naira redesign policy. They further explained that the new policy came at the wrong time, when to get money to buy foodstuff is very difficult for most poor people.
I think the policy is not a bad one, but I think the timing is wrong. And also, we've not gotten to that state that we'll be depending on transfer because it's not working. Like my business has been very slow because I can't pay people and people can't pay me. As I'm talking to you now, you see me sitting down here. I'm thinking of how to pay people and how to retrieve my money, which is very incongruous and abysmal. If we're going to set any policy, let's look at the timing and make sure every apparatus will work very well and give us a good result at the end.
Ross, it's not a small thing. It affected me. The challenge is not here. It's too strong for all of us. And I don't think if we keep going like this, I don't know what will happen next. Because for me to buy my own currency in my country, maybe I want to withdraw. Like yesterday, I wanted to, even old money, I paid 1,000 naira to withdraw to have just 5,000 naira. So it's really getting hard. Sometimes there will be no network. Some will come, they want to transfer. Like I have missed some works, like a couple of days ago. Somebody wants to transfer and there was no network at that point in time. So the guy left. He left. He didn't come back. He didn't come back to me again. So it's really affecting our work.
They said the cash transfer policy has denied them patronage as their customers also lack the cash to pay for their services.
The thing is really affecting everybody in business, everybody generally. All businesses are affected. As you can see, by now I'm supposed to be doing work, but there is nothing I'm doing now. I'm still waiting for customers to come. And have it in mind, they don't have cash, they won't come around. And the transfer transaction is not that going because of our network. You understand? And I don't really just understand what is going on. The thing is really affecting our business.
Some Abuja residents also said the hardship on them is much, adding that the policy has crippled businesses.
It has affected me badly. How? You keep money in a bank in Nigeria when you know the network is not strong here. A younger brother once lived in Joburg in South Africa. If you transfer money to somebody, the money is not dropping. It comes to you immediately. It doesn't take days. And Nigeria, we are always dropping down. We have not gotten to that level of operation when it comes to banking.
Nigerians are hoping that President Muhammadu Buhari will take decision on the matter quickly to restore orderliness. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Central Bank Director of Consumer Protection, Rashidat Munguno, says the pain and trouble being experienced by Nigerians across the country to get the new Naira notes is caused by hoarding. The director said this in Offa, Kwara State, while inspecting and monitoring circulation of new notes in microfinance banks in the area. The director warns that the difficulty being experienced getting the money could linger till December if people continue to hoard the new Naira notes. At the palace of Olofa of Offa, the CBN asked the traditional ruler to enlighten his subjects to embrace the new Naira notes. The Olofa, however, explained the pains of people, the pains people go through since the announcement of the extension of the deadline.
what we expect is that naira that we have issued out will come back into the banking system again. But now, everybody that is collecting the naira is hoarding it. So no matter how much naira we put out there, if we continue with this attitude, if we are issuing every day up till December, it will not be enough. So in order to again accelerate the rate of circulation, responding to the complaints of people that they were still not satisfied, we also now onboarded the microfinance banks. Since they are closer again to the rural areas, our focus is to ensure that all the people in the rural areas are properly served. So, but the situation is going to get better by the time the deadline passes, and we know that we don't have any money to spend on these new naira notes and our 100 naira, 50 naira, and 20 naira that we have had. Everybody must bring out the money. So we just want Your Royal Highness to help us tell the people that they do not have any problem. They should have confidence in the government of Nigeria.
I think it is better for the Central Bank if this policy must take place right now. They must derive a way to make the naira sufficient first. Then before they now said they give us a time that they will have to shut down all the old notes.
Similarly, petty traders in Jos, the Plateau State capital, have been thrown into confusion on whether or not to accept old naira notes from their customers as February 10 deadline by the Central Bank of Nigeria on the collection of old naira notes elapses. The traders say they are now in dilemma whether to collect the old naira notes or reject it because of fear of losing their business capital. Ado Musa completes the report.
The confusion enveloped the traders even before the February 10 deadline, owing to the previous warnings that people must deposit their old naira notes before the expiration of the deadline. Honestly, we are in a difficult situation. When I came out in the morning today, I refused to collect the old notes from my customers, but I later started collecting it when I listened to the news on the issue on radio. But even with that, we don't have a clear direction on the naira notes. Today, the federal government will say this, and tomorrow it will say another thing. It is true that people have been thrown into confusion, but for those who listen to news will understand what is happening. Although there is confusion, but I still collect the old naira notes because I have read different stories about it.
Yes, we are confused, and for me, I don't collect old notes because of fear of losing my money. Our businesses have been affected by the situation. My sales have reduced drastically because people don't have the new notes with them.
With many Nigerians thrown into confusion on the acceptance or otherwise of the old naira notes, the traders, however, call on the federal government to address the issue. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Moving to politics, the senator representing Taraba South, Emmanuel Bocha, has been declared winner of the Taraba State All Progressives Congress governorship rerun primary election. Chairman of the Electoral Committee, Tukur Buratai, while announcing the result of the primary which held in Jalingo, said that Senator Bocha scored 778 votes to defeat his close challenger, Senator Yusuf Yusuf, who polled 5 votes out of the 796 total votes cast in the exercise. A total of 840 delegates turned up for the exercise, but only 796 were accredited. Other aspirants who contested in the election, David Sabo Kente, Anthony Manzo, Eladi Kifasi, and Saleh Mamma got 0 votes. While commending General Buratai, the APC and Independent National Electoral Commission for the credible exercise, Emmanuel Bocha thanks the delegates for supporting him and promised to ensure dividend of democracy for the people if elected the next governor of Taraba State. A former Enugu State Governor, Chimaroke Namani, has faulted his expulsion from the People's Democratic Party, describing it as null. The PDP National Working Committee on Friday expelled him and others from the party, citing anti-party activities. But hours after the move, the former governor said the NWC lacks the powers to take such a decision. He quoted Articles 57, subsection 7 and 59, subsection 3 of the PDP constitution to fault his expulsion from the party. Namani said the decision of the party's National Working Committee was both a nullity and an illegality. You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. Female circumcision worries Edo community. Stay with us.
Nigeria na we country, APC na the party, na one man be a choice.
At last, the elections are here. Let's turn out en masse on election day and vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as president of Nigeria for a renewed hope and a better Nigeria. Vote APC, the party that shows a broom.
The stage is now set for the 2023 presidential election. The Nigeria Elections Debate Group, NEDG, and the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, BON, present the 2023 presidential debate. The debate will provide a unique platform for the four leading presidential candidates to interact with Nigerians and present their plans for the future of our country. This is not just a debate, it's a historic moment to shape the future of the country. Highly credible and experienced professionals will conduct the issue-driven debate before a live radio and television audience. Venue, International Conference Center, Central Business District, Abuja. Date, Sunday, February 12, 2023. Time, 6 p.m. Guests are to be seated by 5 p.m. The debate will be beamed live on all BON member stations across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. Attendance is strictly by invitation.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're watching Trust News Update, a recap of our top stories. We told you that Council of State directs CBN to print more currency or allow old notes coexist with new ones. We also told you that Senator Emmanuel Bocha wins Taraba All Progressives Congress governorship primary rerun. Moving to more stories, security and on security, unknown gunmen operating in the southeast struck again on Friday, killing 3 policemen from the Delta State Command of the Department of Explosive Ordnance Device. The victims, who were attached to the state government house, were murdered in Ihiala local government area of Anambra State while on their way to Abia State. They were an advance team of the governor, who is the vice presidential candidate of the PDP. The names of the 3 deceased police officers were given as Inspectors Lucky Ale, Celestine Nwadioku, and Jude Obu. A source revealed that the unknown gunmen intercepted them at about 1:30 p.m. at Ihiala local government area of Anambra State and set their vehicle ablaze. The police public relations officer of Anambra State Command, Ikenga Tochukwu, confirmed the incident. As part of activities to commemorate this year's International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation or Circumcision, residents of Ovia Southwest local government area of Edo State have been sensitized on the need to report and speak against the practice while joining others across the globe to put it to an end. Nafisa Bello completes the report.
In attendance at the sensitization program held at the Ovia Southwest Local Government Council were elders from the locality, representatives of traditional rulers, market women, religious leaders, youth, and others. They were educated on the need to shun every form of gender-based violence, particularly female genital mutilation.
Sensitize our people so that they'll go back home to make sure that female child are no longer circumcised.
Society organizations, development partners, activists, and other relevant stakeholders to raise awareness, renew commitments, and reiterate that female genital mutilation is an unacceptable practice and a violation of women and girls' basic human rights.
The awareness program was more like an interactive session as the resource person, Dr. Hadiza Okunwobo, from the Department of Public Law, Faculty of Law of the University of Benin, entertained questions from participants, amongst whom cited ignorance as a major reason for the practice in parts of the state. Okunwobo spoke extensively on the consequences and how to join forces towards its total eradication.
Why they going to get this campaign? Say many women going to get problems, and when doctors they check with the problem, they're going to notice say now this cut way they cut women, that their vagina they will remove one area, that be the small one, the bigger one they will remove the whole area. Then soon they will stitch and close. That be this that one.
Traditional rulers and religious leaders were not left out, as they promised to pass the message to their various bodies.
Says is that we have to support not to be circumcising a woman, because they have in the future they have an effect.
Female genital this thing is not allowed in Islam. It's only allowed for holy men. Even it's written in the Holy Quran.
As the head of the Christian body in this local government, we call the zonal coordinators and the executives, and through them the information will be disseminated to the grassroots.
And we are going to do our best to take this message to the nook and crannies of Edo State. Together, we say no to female genital mutilation.
According to the World Health Organization, WHO, female genital mutilation or circumcision is a clear violation of fundamental human rights. So, report and speak against it. Nafisa Bello, Trust TV News, Benin.
No fewer than 15 million children are subjected to child labor in Nigeria, according to statistics released by the International Labour Organization. As a strategy to tackle unacceptable labor practices involving children, the global body is engaging stakeholders in the regulation of content fit for children. Based on the National Broadcasting Code, Noel Sampson, who was at the venue of the conversation, has more of the details.
Child labor refers to the work that is mentally, physically, socially, or morally dangerous and harmful to children, and interferes with their schooling. A key partner in clearly defining child labor, the broadcast industry, which through its programming can draw attention to issues that contribute to the surge.
They are aware that a substantial percentage of Nigeria's population is children. Nigeria is projected to have over 217 million population, out of which about over 100 million are under the age of 18. As future leaders of our dear country, these children need our protection because of their inability and vulnerability.
Worrying situation about the statistics showing the level of child labor in Nigeria. That's one. Two, the need to streamline and the mainstream child programming within the child broadcasting belt.
Stakeholders believe that a clear-cut roadmap should be designed that would expose societal dislocations such as poverty and lack of education, which contribute to child labor.
This meeting, the ILO has a collaboration with the National Orientation Agency to raise awareness on child labor issues, especially the implementation of the National Social Behavioral Communication Change Strategy that was developed by the National Steering Committee on the Issue of Child Labor. So NBS now have the responsibility of implementing that strategy.
Everyone will be going away now with the idea of having to come up with a way to ensure that we kick out child labor from society. Create the awareness. Not too many people know that what they're doing right now is child labor. Even a lot of people do not know that even in your own house, your child can be into child labor. So, but from what we've just done, the awareness has been created, and everyone, especially media organizations, are going back right now to develop and devise means and plans of making the public aware.
Child labor can result in extreme bodily and mental harm and even death. It can lead to slavery and sexual or economic exploitation. In nearly every case, it cuts children off from schooling and healthcare, restricting their fundamental rights and threatening their futures. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
On the foreign scene, search and rescue teams worked through the night, pulling more bodies from the rubble following Monday's devastating earthquake in Turkey and Syria. The death toll in Turkey has risen to 20,665, the country's Disaster and Emergency Management Authority said on Saturday. In neighboring Syria, the death toll in government and opposition-held areas stands at 3,553. There have been 1,891 aftershocks since the first quake early on Monday, AFAD said. The number of rescues have fallen, although some survivors were still being found. The focus has now shifted to helping the survivors, with many in desperate need of aid. And finally, in sports, Nigeria's under-20 boys Flying Eagles have now settled down in Morocco's commercial and economic capital, Casablanca, for a one-week final training camp ahead of the Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations starting next week Saturday in the Arab Republic of Egypt. Nigeria's first match of the campaign, as they attempt an 8th continental title, will be against Senegal's Cub Lions at the Cairo International Stadium starting from 9 p.m. Egypt time on Sunday, 19th February. The Flying Eagles, two-time FIFA World Cup runners-up and one-time bronze medalists, will then face hosts Egypt on Wednesday, 22nd February, and Mozambique on Saturday, 25th February. All 4 semi-finalists at the 12-team championship in Egypt will qualify to fly Africa's flag at the FIFA Under-20 World Cup finals to be staged in Indonesia 20th May to 11th June this year. And with that, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Husseina Usman. Thanks for watching.